done my foundation, and the reason being is because I'm actually filming like a first impression review on this foundation, and if it's up already I will leave a link to it in the description bar. It's actually the Too Faced Born This Way foundation, which so far I'm actually really loving, so I will leave a link in the bottom bar if you're interested. So pretty much the first thing I like to do when highlighting and contouring my face is obviously conceal my under eyes and kind of accentuate like the high points on my skin, and for that I've really been liking the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer, and this has been one of my favourites recently. I love using this on myself and I love using it on clients because it's really full coverage, and the applicator is also really easy to use as well. Pretty much what I do is I just do 2 triangles under my eyes, and this is just enough just to highlight under my eyes and also to conceal any darkness. And then I also take a little bit down the centre of my nose like that, on my cupid's bow, and then my chin, and then on the centre of my forehead like that. And I only really need to put my brush in this once, and that's able to cover my whole entire face. And then what I like to do is take my Zoeva Face Shape Brush, which is just like a little small round kind of kabuki brush, and what I do is I just start to pat that in under my eyes really gently, obviously because you're working with under your eyes and you don't want to obviously go too rushed because the tissue under your eyes is like very thin, so you want to make sure that you go really soft around your eyes. And this brush just makes everything just really melt into the skin, and I think it works really well. And then what I do whenever I have like the majority of it blended in is just take my foundation brush, which is the Zoeva Silk Finish brush, which is just like a bigger version of the concealer brush that I just used. So what I do with this is pretty much just kind of go over all the highlighted areas just to make sure that everything really blends into my skin, and obviously you don't want any harsh edges and stuff. So I'm just really kind of patting it into my skin just to make sure everything melts into my skin really nicely and looks really seamless. So then what I do to contour and chisel out my face and make it look really like Instagram and really chiseled and stuff is I take my Makeup Studio Cream Contour Kit, and this kit just comes with 5 different cream colours. As you can see, it comes with 2 darker tones and then 3 more lighter shades. But honestly, I prefer the more darker colours rather than the lighter colours because they can kind of start to look a little bit cakey. But for cream contouring, I do really like these 2 bottom colours. So what I'm going to do is take this colour here, which is in the shade Oriental, on the Sigma Soft Blend Concealer Brush, which is just like a little kind of soft blend concealer brush. And I'm just going to swirl some of the product. So what I do with this is that I make sure that I don't go too heavy first of all, because obviously if you go in too heavy first, you can obviously make it look really intense and not natural looking. So what I do first of all is I do the kind of line going down at the side of my cheekbone. So obviously your cheekbones are just kind of these kind of hollows here. So if you just suck in your cheeks, you'll be able to see like the line just going down. And I like to bring mine kind of to the outer corner of my eye because you don't want to go in too far and then it's starting to look really like, so you just want to make sure you kind of go to like the outside of your eye. And then what I do is again just load up my brush and then go really lightly around the sides of my temples, and this is going to give my head like a more slimmer effect, and you want to go really lightly with this because you don't want to apply too much. So I'm kind of just focusing it more around my hairline and then kind of more across the centre of my forehead, and obviously you can see here it's just kind of giving me like a more rounder effect on my skin. And then what I like to do is actually contour the sides of my chin because I like to make my chin and jawline really stand out. So what I do is I kind of just do 2 circles, just going around the side of my chin like that, and then I also, whoops, and then I also like to take the brush and go along the sides of my nose. Just very lightly though, because you obviously don't really want to overdo this. With what's left on your brush, you just want to do 2 kind of stripes going down the side of your jawline. So now that I have all of the contour shades put in place, what I like to do is just make sure that everything's nicely applied. And then to blend that out, what I do is I take a duo fibre brush, and this is just the Zoeva Petite Stippling brush. And this is just like a really small duo fibre brush, which I think is really good for blending out this. So what I do is I basically just kind of swirl my brush around my head, and this will just really make it have kind of like an airbrush effect because you're really not using a lot of pressure. So I'm just kind of swirling it along my forehead and then going down the sides of my temples. And you don't want to go right into here, or you don't want to bring the brown right down into this kind of area. You want to leave this side blank because you don't want to really suck in that side because it'll kind of give like a skull, really scary looking effect. So you want to just kind of focus it more around here and then leave a gap and then go down to this area and then just blend this out. The majority of that kind of blends in, I'm going to take my foundation brush, which is the Zoeva 120 Silk Finish brush, and what I'm going to do is just really further blend this in by applying just what's left on my foundation brush around these sides just to make sure that it's really blended out and you don't want to have any harsh lines at all. So you want to make sure everything's really blended in, and you want to make sure you really get into your hairline, because obviously you don't want to have like a white hairline. But my hairline's quite like weird the way my hair goes, so obviously you can kind of see my scalp still, and obviously I don't want to cover my whole head in like contour products, so I just kind of blend it into my hairline as much as I can. So what I'm going to do now is just focus on setting my under eyes, because obviously I don't want that area to crease and I still want it to still kind of stay quite bright. So what I'm going to do is take my MAC Pro Emphasize Shaping Powder, and this is pretty much like a white kind of iridescent, really light kind of pale creamy colour for setting your under eyes. And what I do is I just take this on a Sigma tapered highlighter brush, and what I do is I just look up and just set my under eyes with this. And this is one of my all-time favourite powders for setting under my eyes, because it really does kind of keep that area quite bright, and I think it's really good. And what I do whenever I have that set on quite thick is just kind of let it sit there for a little second, just to make sure that it really gets into all the cream products and sets them all in place. So what I do, obviously you can see that's quite pale now, so I'm just going to take my brush and blend that across the tops of my cheeks. So the very next thing that I'm going to do is set the rest of my face and kind of make my contour a little bit sharper. So what I'm going to do is take my beauty blender, and I'm actually going to spray a little bit of Max Fix Plus onto it just to kind of dampen it a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is take my Laura Mercier translucent loose setting powder, and obviously I'm sure you guys have all heard of this. I got this because everybody always goes on and on and on about it on YouTube, and I can totally understand why, because it is a really good product. So what I'm going to do is just kind of sieve some of this through into the lid of the product. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top of my beauty blender sponge and pick up some of the powder onto the sponge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this underneath where my contour is. And what this is going to do is really kind of chisel out my contour and make it look really kind of stand out against the pale colour. And then I'm also going to place some of this down the centre of my nose, above my lip, on my chin, and then also in the centre of my forehead. So while that's sitting on there baking, I'm going to be taking my contour colour, and this is the Makeup Geek Contour Pan in the shade Infidelity, which is the contour colour in Cool Fur, which is a really nice cool colour for contouring with, which still looks really natural. So what I'm going to do with this is take my MAC 123, or rather it's the 133 small contour brush, and take some of this onto the brush. And beware guys, these powders are so pigmented, so you literally only need to dab your brush in like once. Look how much colour you get. So what I'm going to do is just take some of that and then run my brush along where I would normally contour. And then when I have that done, I'm just going to take my big powder brush, which is the Morphe E2 brush, and then just kind of sweep away all of the other powder products onto my face. So now what I'm going to do is take my favourite highlighting powder, which is the Anastasia Beverly Hills So Hollywood Illuminator, and I'm also going to take that on the Anastasia A23 highlighting brush, which is so good for this. So what I do is I basically just take some onto the side of the brush, tap off any excess product, and then just apply this onto the tops of my cheeks, just really lightly, because this product is really pigmented. I really don't want to overdo this, or else you can look really oily looking. And then what I like to do is also apply this onto the tip of my nose, and really kind of focus on my cupid's bow as well. And this will just give my lip like a really nice fuller appearance. And then whatever's left in the brush, I literally like to take like whatever's left in the brush really lightly and just kind of sweep it along the middle of my forehead. And this will just give me like a really G effect. Sorry for how weird I look with like no eye makeup or mascara or eyebrows or anything on, but this is pretty much the full look that I love to wear whenever I'm filming or whenever I'm going out, and whenever I just want to have like a full makeup look on. So I will have all the products I use down in the description box below, and again don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up if you enjoy it, and I will see you soon.